All right, Earthlings, welcome back to another game stream of consciousness with the Thundering Dice Brothers. And our stream of consciousness today will probably just be a musing reflection on the Wheel of Time. It's in our minds, in our hearts, but not on our TVs anymore. So, let's play some zombies, or kill some zombies, and talk about what went wrong, what went right, whatever the fuck we want to talk about, Wheel of Time related or not.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. What went right?
It got produced. Someone got it into that stage of development. Things were recorded.
Oh Jesus! What?
I mean, that's
the start.
That's the most basic thing they got right. I mean, you can't have a bad show without having a show.
Okay, so if we're gonna start fundamentally, yes, it got made. So that is a good tick in the good column. Now let's see, what's a second good tick?
The casting overall was pretty good. Was pretty top notch.
That's true. Actually, I had no real problems with anyone.
You know, I think the actors all did admirably. They seemed to be well chosen for their roles. Rosamund Pike was great as Moraine, I think. I think Josh Stradowski did a very good job. He really got to showcase his acting chops in the Ruidian Glass Columns episode, which was kind of cool to see. Because before that, they sort of limited his screen time because reasons. The evil casting, fucking perfect. Like, it was goddamn perfect. I really, really enjoyed all of that casting. I mean, Samael, we never really got to get to know, so I can't really say
it was just kind of there for an episode and a half.
Yeah,
it felt like.
Exactly.
But the rest of them, like Moghedien, Lanfear, Shamael, they all worked really well.
Moghedien especially. I think out of... Lanfear was great, but Moghedien was just like an extra special kind of... like
crazy.
Yeah, it really worked. I don't know. Like, Lanfear was great, don't get me wrong. I think she was structurally well chosen too, but...
It was what you expected. Moghedien's, like, the way the actress portrayed her was not exactly what I expected, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard, and it added a little bit of depth to the character, in my mind, that I didn't quite see in the books. But I think I'll be colored going forward when I read her chapters now.
I think so too.
Because of her portrayal. And yeah, I mean, like, that's definitely a big positive in my mind.
Yeah, so the casting was good. I think for, largely the set design, the landscape pieces, the location shooting was all pretty awesome. But that did sort of bite them in the ass a little bit, I think, in the final episode. The insistence on location I really appreciate, like, going to the desert to film the waste. Hell yeah, that's exactly right. But CGI some all-care doll in there. That's okay.
Yeah, like they had the base of it, which was great, but all they needed to do was add on to it, because no one's going to really look at that and expect anything of substance to happen in that tiny little bowl.
And have more Aiel there as well. I mean, like, crowd dynamics are pretty well sorted for those kind of things at CGI level. Use a bunch of live actors for much of it, and then do crowd dynamics and make it like it is in the book. There's tens of thousands of Aiel there. There's 3 clans. The entire Shido clan is there. Like, there's fuckloads of people there.
Yeah.
So just make it more impressive, But beyond that, the set pieces were good. Building physical locations for places like Emond's Field.
That was nice.
That was a good idea. The creature design really sort of came into its own in the 3rd season. Loial started looking better. Oh shoot, we should get out of here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What am I doing? I'm just chilling down here.
He looked. I mean, like, he did look better, and his voice was deeper, and he was darker skinned than he was in the first 2 seasons.
But he still didn't have the ears.
But yeah,
and the giant eyebrows, and he's not.
And definitely didn't look the way described in the books.
No.
But I mean, like, you can only do so much with prosthetics and everything. So the actor, portrayed him, I mean, well enough. Like, the kind of slow, gentle natured until the very end, when he gets his interesting death scene.
Ironically, Loial has the best closure of everybody in the show since it ended at season 3.
Yes,
the way they ended it, he actually, like, dies a hero and never gets.
Yeah, and they can't bring him back by some stupid Deus Ex Machina bullshit.
Yeah, he just fell down to a bridge.
He just gets to
below
die.
him, and then he made his way, and he popped out and like fucking Shara.
No, that's exactly what they were gonna do.
Can you imagine if it was Shara? How dumb that would have been.
Yeah, that would have been bad. But no, that's exactly what they were gonna do. So I'm glad that they don't get the opportunity to mess that up.
Other stuff that was good. The best episode of the show by far was the Glass Columns of Ruidian, which, coincidentally or ironically, however you want to think of it, Rafe Judkins did write that episode. But as we've discussed previously, that is sort of one of those ones that you had to nail, and it was laid out. I mean, there's no sort of obfuscation and hinting about in those scenes in the books. Man, that is just a story being presented and shown through Rand's eyes to us on the page. Yeah. That's exactly what it is, and that's all you had to do. Essentially he made the right decisions and the right things to lift out and the right things to highlight, I suppose, and he made a great decision having Rand's actor portray all the people in it. That was fantastic as well. I think that was the best episode of the season, or of the show.
Yeah, definitely best episode. Yeah, really well done. As we've established before, and as you just said, it was the easiest to produce or to make or to write or not to screw up. And I'm glad that they, obviously didn't screw it up. But that's like the only real highlight that you can highlight. Well, I think everything else
we must be slightly overlooking something. It's been a minute since I've watched all of season 1 and season 2, so there must have been moments in those seasons where we were like, "That was a good episode," I remember thinking while watching season 2 that while it doesn't feel like Wheel of Time very much, it did feel like it was better television. But I was contrasting.
It was better television, but it was
worse
story. And they deviated even farther off the plot than they did in season 1. And so you're looking at it with some definitely colored glasses right now. If we were to rewatch season 2, or if you were just to actually watch our recap of season 2, you would be like, what the fuck did they try to pack in here?
Yeah, it's so funny. We spent a good amount of time rewatching and writing a script and then recording and all that. You'd think it'd still be fresh in my mind. But I guess it's been drowned out by season 3 and all the other stuff going on. That it's not nearly as crisp as I would imagine it to be. But anyway, season
and it's also
season 1 was more lore accurate, story accurate. They at least tried to stick to the main beats of the story. Season 2 was just all over the fucking place and made no sense, but it was better television. It was a better executed and better produced show. And then season 3 was, oh my god, we fucked ourselves again with the holes we wrote ourselves into. Let's try to get it back on track. Maybe try and salvage this show. And the only way we know how to do that is going back to the actual storyline, and that wasn't enough.
No, definitely not enough. Yeah, if they would have made this adjustment after season 1 and did what they did with season 3 and season 2, and then season 3 would have been better than season 2 in this respect, I'm more inclined to believe that season 4 would have happened.
Yeah, think about how much more fun it would have been to be find a lot of positive. How much more fun did we have rehashing episode 4?
Oh god, that was such a great episode. Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah. I got that one.
Yeah, nice, thanks. No, yeah. That's we had fun, talking about that one because it was such a positive episode in this respect because it was close to the books. It was exactly what we were like. You cannot fuck this one up because it's such a crucial episode. You guys can do this. We had faith that they could do it and they did it, and it was a good reward. And we're like, finally, something that was not necessarily verbatim, but so close to the way it was written, that you're you're completely elated, even though.
And it really gave us fucking hope. It's like hitting the Wednesday of the week and crushing it. And you're like, oh fuck yeah, it's gravy train from here on out. And then Thursday, it turns out that I don't know, you drank too much at your corporate party and now you're fucked.
No, because I remember our reaction video to episode 5 pretty well. I mean, not necessarily exactly what we said, but I remember the tonal shift. From me, I was so disappointed, and you were kind of trying to claw me back, it wasn't that bad.
I was so
and then all I had to say was, in comparison to the last episode, this was awful, and you conceded, and
and here we are. All that optimism that I was really trying to will into existence, to quote the great Jeremy Clarkson, if you think something will happen, it will happen. So if you believe something will happen, it will happen. and I wanted to
Yes.
believe, because I, for better or worse, this was and is probably the only version of this we're going to be able to see visually. I don't think anyone's going to take another chance on this IP. And so for that reason alone, knowing that this was what we were going to get, I wanted it to succeed and I wanted it to get finished. For all my gripes about it, it was still Wheel of Time-ish on TV, and me being not an incredibly like imaginative visual person, in my head, I don't see things the way that you do. I can't visualize people and places like you can. It was kind of nice to have some background to the story in my head, It's
putting a picture to the words. It's like this is obviously a very different.
I'm gonna open this up real quick. Let's get some Juggernaut and some shit going.
Yeah, I agree. And we got some things we got like let's throw a grenade.
Yeah, right.
But like it's kind of like and obviously this is not the same because this analogy that I'm using makes only sense to the visual. But it's like seeing Alan Lee's paintings because he put a buttload of of Tolkien's Silmarillion and Unfinished Tales to canvas, and they're absolutely beautiful, and they have they capture what you want them to capture. So it's really cool to see that in reality. Now it's not Wheel of Time obviously did not capture what you wanted it to capture, but it did give you like faces to see people do things and like a semblance of the story that you wanted. So
you got to see
a semblance of it.
Emond's Field. You got to see
exactly.
a Trolloc. Holy shit, do we get lucky? I can't believe that.
Oh, holy balls!
I'm not gonna try again. Well, may as well actually. Yeah, fuck it. I have money, so what am I?
Yeah.
I kind of want to get Juggernog though.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna get Juggernog next. Yeah. But no, yeah, exactly. So we got to see that. We got to see an interesting interpretation of Eredal. I thought that what they were trying to do there was really looked pretty cool. Viridian looked interesting. Let's put it that way.
Viridian was not in any way the way that I expected to see it.
I don't know why they actually showed like the domes. I mean, because I know it says like it's a city in the clouds, but I never took that literally.
No, I thought of it as like literally any other city completely shrouded in mist, and then
no, that's the way I took it. Not like
doing
but like you remember like there's a couple certain people say and like a peddler said like an actual city in the clouds.
Yeah, and which is fine because it's
I think
on the
that's
slopes of Chandar, the mountain. So maybe it's supposed to be higher up on the mountain. I'm not sure if it's in the valley. It's definitely the valley, right?
Yeah, it's definitely in the valley. Yeah, so I just always took it that the people who said that went in there, and since it was all shrouded in mist, it felt like a city in the clouds because you couldn't see it until like you got through the rolling boil of fog, and then once you were in there, it's still there, and it's like kind of like stepping into another world of a unfinished city. It's like stepping into a painter whose painting is 50%, like 60-70% done.
And one of the fascinating things that is just it's beyond like storytelling lore is the concept that the Aiel, or the Gen Aiel at that time, or whatever you want to call them, the Daishan Aiel, they were building this city in the knowledge that they would never finish it, that it would never be finished, that someone else is going to take over possibly later on in thousands of years. Yeah, and that's the kind of cool stuff that like it's described, but what it means really is kind of important to the story, to the lore, and building the city the right way in the show would have gone a long way to showing that, and they didn't. That's a little disappointing. But the concept of what was in the city mattered too. I mean, all right, so some of the changes now just we're free to say they're all fucking stupid. Like they're not gonna write their way out of it because there's nothing to write their way out of. They fucked themselves out of this. I have a weird fucking combo. I got a ray gun and a thunder gun.
I know, I see that. This is pretty funny. I'm hoping that I get like an RPG. Oh, fuck that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Kill this bitch. Word. But yeah, like continue. Yeah, like the stupid things that they wrote themselves into. We can now like.
I mean, I would just say
because there's no like hope that like maybe they'll be able to retcon some.
Oh shit! May as well roll right back where we were. Yeah, there's no point in trying to hope that they'll come up with something cool to fix it out. All right, so starting out in season fucking 1. There's already some dumb stuff that was added for no reason. Like, all right, Egwene's river test thing.
Oh, God. Just throwing her into the water, yeah.
Like, okay,
hoping if the rock doesn't bash her skull in.
If you're not going to use that as a reference to surrendering to Sidar, then you're fucking missed the plot already. Like, why include that at all if that's not the point of it? So that kind of just pissed me off right from the get-go. No, actually, season 1, I can't get too pissed at the lore stuff because it gets so much worse in season 2 and 3.
Yeah, it's the saddest thing because because book 1 and season 1 are still a million miles apart because they just cut out. I mean, like you get like the beginning
is actually all correct. They hit the right places. They get separated mostly the right way. Tom doesn't have nearly as cool of a role, unfortunately. I'm good.
All right.
And then it all unravels at the end. As soon as they have to enter the ways, that's when it all goes off the rails, unfortunately. That's when we know it got fucked by COVID and an actor leaving. But I can't believe that's the best they could come up with.
No. Yeah, no. And then them all reuniting in Tar-Valon makes no fucking sense in season 1.
And they're
instead of Camelin.
And they're so chill. Like, this is just a total vibe for the show. Everyone's too goddamn relaxed. Rand's too fucking relaxed. Rand doesn't like freak out nearly as much about who he is, what he's doing. He doesn't rail against it. It takes him, dude, like 3 books to accept that he's the Dragon Reborn, and here he is just showing up in the fucking waste, like grinning like a fucking weirdo. Like, yeah, I'm the Karakar, motherfuckers, haha. That's just that felt very out of character and plays way too fast.
No acceptance.
Perrin killing his wife, season 1.
That really doesn't they even try because like you even get the attempt to have like an emotional payoff for that
with
through
Fael.
the scene with Fael being being like that, it sucks that happened, with my brother. I basically killed my brother too, because my mom was a dark friend, and I told my brother this. And
what the fuck? And then so like Matt having Matt's whole family situation. Why change that? What was the point? In the 3 seasons that we saw, why did that matter?
Yeah, it absolutely didn't. It was more of a disgrace actually to the family.
And they basically did nothing with Perrin about that. I mean, Perrin got kind of like nothing burgered as well, unfortunately, until season 3. He's just kind of there with his like creased forehead and his eyes slowly changing color, sort of sometimes.
And you barely get anything with the wolves.
And even in season 3, you barely get anything with the wolves. Like, how is that not a major plot point in the show? Wolf Dream, like Hopper,
that never comes up.
Like, come on.
It never comes up. Getting to see Elias a little bit.
He was kind of cool, I guess.
A certain glimpse.
You know what? They didn't ruin Elias.
Yeah, they didn't ruin Elias, which is probably the best thing you can say for this show. Oh god, that's such a sad thing to say.
I know, right?
Ruin the show. So there's that. I mean, Fael, however.
They didn't have enough time to ruin her either.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, she was just she was there for just a small amount of scenes. I've had arguments with people online. Some of them think that like the chemistry between Perrin and her works. Some don't. Perrin and her. Perrin and her. Shit. Whoops. Yeah, but that it works. Some people don't. I think more or less for the limited screen time, I'm willing to forgive any sort of weirdness that didn't quite feel right because, well, it's only such. You only get them for 5 seconds, basically. In
terms of on-screen relationships, theirs is the only one that comes close to feeling normal. Weirdly, even though they're like trauma bonding and they're like, and Perrin's, obviously has the baggage of having axed his wife to death. But when you think of the Avienda Elaine relationship that just sort of happened out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, that was random. The Swan Moraine relationship, actually, that was okay. That actually felt pretty normal. They established it as just a thing that they've been doing for a long time, and we know that they were, somewhat involved, pillow friends. So that's rock on. That was fine. So maybe I was being unfair to that relationship a little bit.
Because I remember not liking it. Well, more thinking about it was a distraction. Didn't really bring anything to the show. But now that it's canceled, I can appreciate the giving the depth of character to both of them because it does make certain actions more dramatic in the show. Mm-hmm. Like when she forces Moraine to close. well, her death too, yeah. But like when Suon forces Moiraine to close the way gate by her oath on the oath.
Yeah,
rod,
that was
a really good scene.
But you know what? That's only a good scene because they added shit that didn't need to be added and changed. Like the fact that they used another, they made Moiraine swear another oath. Why? Why would you?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Well, the only reason I could think, beyond the fact that she needed to get out of the town, since they wrote themselves into the problem that they were in Tar Valon to begin with, and Liandrin was making a boatload of stink because, you know, Moiraine had to go to find Liandrin and company to get healed from the massive Trolloc shaft that she took in the Two Rivers. So because of all these little things that they had to write in to fix them going, then they needed a reason for her to get out of Tar Valon because they have the head of the Haraja order her to stay in there. Like they just dig themselves into hole after hole after hole after hole after hole to finally come to this, like, all right, fine, how are we going to get her out of this? Well, she needs to be banished. How is she going to be banished? Well, let's make her swear the fourth oath on the oath rod. Why is that going to make sense? Because it's not.
And the thing is they should never bring the fourth oath up until Elida is there, because it's supposed to be a bad thing, an evil thing. You don't want one of your main protagonists to do something fucking fundamentally evil right away.
Yeah, and as you can see, like, I mean, like, the only thing you could give, you could sort of give them the credit, well, not credit, like, you could give the justification being that it is foreshadowing for Elida to suggest this, because you've already seen Suon abuse that power.
Yeah. And well, it's the same thing they did with.
But even that's though being too that's being too charitable in the long run. Anyways, I don't think that's why they did it. I just think they ran themselves into a hole, and couldn't dig themselves out. You good?
Yeah, I'm good now.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And once again, they are victims of their own mistakes over and over again. You know. And it took them until season 3 to try and turn it around. I mean, you could really tell that season 3 they were aiming for the story again. I mean, just the fact that they dedicated 2 episodes exclusively to main plot events in the story is more than they did to any of the other ones, and yet they still fumbled the finale. Like, if you have, if you know anything about TV and you know that this is sort of a make it or break it, not sort of, an absolutely make it or break it season, how could you fumble the finale again? You fumbled the finale once and twice. 3 times is a charm, but it's not the kind of charm you want in this case.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, all of them were massively anticlimactic and failed to hit all the points that the books do hit on. And it's not like the endings for books 1, 2, and 3 would be hard to replicate.
No,
because you can. I mean, like they're basically just a few chapters, and all you need to do as a show is make sure that episode 8 hits those points. Like, it's the easiest correlation to run, but like, no, they just the ineptitude. I'm just sorry. It's an absolute ineptitude on the writers and the producers' standpoint. Like, they just did not know what the fuck they even wanted to try to do.
You might try to make the excuse that they're in uncharted territory. They're doing something that no one else has done, and to a certain respect, you can make that argument because no one has ever tried to adapt a series of this breadth. This, like, length, I should say, not breadth. That's not fair to Lord of the Rings specifically.
Yeah, I was about to say,
but this length,
you're straying into dangerous territory.
Exactly what I'm trying to say.
I know.
No part of Lord of the Rings trilogy is as long as 14 books. It's just not possible.
No, okay, I agree with that, but
George R. R. Martin's books were adapted almost like very, very faithfully from the books, oftentimes, and that worked really, really, really fucking well. And as soon as they were up on their own, trying to do their own shit and didn't have a good story to tell anymore, it failed miserably. So learn from that right there. Like, George R. R. Martin's adaptations worked in the beginning because they followed the books pretty closely. Why don't you? And they failed when they ran out of material. Well, you don't have to worry about running out of material. The totality of the story exists for you. Follow the strokes of the book, and you're gonna have the story is already written. That's like 90% of the fucking battle.
No, that's exact. Yeah, the story is already written. All you had to do is follow it to a more or less greater degree. Because, like, you don't need... I mean, we've talked about this often. There are a lot of things in Wheel of Time that you can cut out, and you would still have a perfectly coherent story. Everything that is written does not need to be showed. They didn't need to even attempt to write their own story, because the story that they needed to tell is all there already. Like, yeah, the hubris of it and just the absolute retardedness of it.
Here's a question I'm going to ask for
staggering.
you from a writing perspective. Who is the main character of the TV show?
I would say Moraine is my instinct saying that she's the main character. But I almost want to say Egwene.
You know what? I was torn between Moraine and Egwene as well. And even then, it's so ill-defined. It's too spread out. You know, think about successful fantasy or sci-fi shows or movies. Star Wars. Who is the main character of the original Star Wars trilogy?
Luke.
Yeah.
It's not even a question.
Who do we identify most with? Who is the story told? Whose perspective is the story told from? Luke's. Okay, we're in a fantastic world with magical powers and alien and wizards. That's not very different from Wheel of Time. So we need an everyman who we relate to who is the main character. It's never in question in the goddamn books who it's going to be. Most of the first book is told from Rand's perspective for the first third of the book. Or almost all of it,
I'm going to say, most...
Yeah.
I mean, like, beyond the time where it's Perrin, because they split up, it's all Rand.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And even the second book, it's basically all Rand. It isn't until, the Dragon Reborn, which, ironically, should be all about the Dragon Reborn. It's all about Perrin, and that actually works really well to the story because it makes the climax of the third book that much more interesting and emotionally satisfying when it all fucking happens.
I am out of ammo for my ray gun. This is no good.
Ask and you shall receive.
Oh, awesome! Thank fuck.
Right.
Yeah, so and again, this is another thing that obviously I'm gonna use Star Wars as an example here again because it does this really, really well. The everyman character of Luke, Luke is a moisture farmer on a back world, like in the middle of fucking nowhere with little contact with actual tech and cool shit and the galaxy around them, right? They're isolated.
Yeah.
Rand al'Thor is a shepherd in the ass end of Andor up against the mountains, isolated from everybody. Again, it worked really, really well to tell the story from an everyman perspective. He's going to be the hero, and we get to watch him change and grow. That's why these kind of stories need that kind of a storytelling lens. They need a perspective to root for. They need a person to root for, and they didn't give us nearly enough of a main character. It's a TV show. We need to be our attention needs to be held by a character or a few main characters. Make everyone a supporting character in this story. That's what you have to do. Just frustrating, man, because it's so. I don't write stories. I'm not a writer. I've never written or created anything like that, and yet this seems painfully obvious to me.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to say hindsight 2020.
Read a lot of that too, yeah. But you've also read. You read a lot, and the stuff that you read, especially if you're talking about fantasy, are good stories. And good stories, it's one of those things that people like to over-explain good stories. Yeah, me too. Like good stories and like how storytelling works and like the tropes and shit like that. But pretty much all good storytelling is innately understandable by all human beings, depending on your culture. That's what I mean. Like that's the only thing that will change of like what good storytelling is the cultural influence.
And I can't obviously speak for many cultures because I don't know many of the indigenous stories and oral traditions and stuff like that. But I imagine that their stories are often also told. Oh fuck! Really? Damn. Are often told with the same sort of structure. There are heroes, there are people, like individuals, who are the main characters, who are triumphing against the forces of evil or the forces of nature or whatever.
Yes.
I can say that's true for, Roman mythology and Greek mythology, so I assume it's also, and I can say it's true of the Bible, if you think about the Jesus story. A fucking carpenter born poor, but through miraculous circumstances has a gift or a talent or a power and becomes a martyr and saves the world, ostensibly. same shit. I mean, no wonder people like the story there too. I mean, it's literally as old as storytelling, I think. So no, that's exactly. A long way of saying I agree with you.
No, yeah, exactly. It's a missed opportunity that could have been so much better, and like there was just no reason to. There's no reason to create your story. I mean, like this goes for all fantasy IPs and everything that's based off of like a book or shit like that, or a story that's already been written. It is absolutely fine to tweak certain aspects of the story that you're willing to tell to make it fit on a certain medium. No one is so thick that they're not going to understand that. Or anyone who is that thick, don't fucking listen to, because they're a goddamn moron.
And just to interject quick, there's always going to be a difference in opinion when you adapt something. Some people are going to have different things that they think should have been included or cut, depending on what they love about the books. And someone, of course, has to be the final arbiters. They will not be able to please everybody. So no matter, in every adaptation, there is always going to be things that you love that are missing, and you have to accept it going in. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for a bad time. With that said, continue.
But yes, that's true. But the reason, like the story, though, that you are adapting into whatever medium you want to, you have to keep the core of it and not decide that you're going to make a story inside that universe that isn't actually the story that was originally told.
Yep. I'm like nodding furiously.
Yeah, it's just the simplest thing in the world. I mean, like, seriously, it's like breathing. You should just understand this. And I just don't get how writers, producers, directors, whatever, all these creative people in the movie industry, I do not get why they think they can create a better story than the story that they're trying to tell.
That's already been told.
That's already been told, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like Peter Jackson, for all my like annoyance at certain really small things that are changed in the, or well, actually some of them are really major.
Big. Some characters get done dirty, like, but
that's what I mean. Yeah, like Faramir, like
Denethor.
I do not. Yeah, Faramir, Denethor. Like, I don't forgive these massive changes, but at least it wasn't like. It wasn't like. Well, actually, no, they are really that actually egregious. But the story itself, though,
it doesn't ruin the story. It doesn't create a plot hole so deep that you can't finish the trilogy.
Yeah. Because whilst Faramir does take Frodo, Sam, way, and Gollum in this respect in the movies, way outside their like where they go in the book, and take them hundreds of miles in the wrong direction for them to have to do certain things. Well, actually, okay, technically it's not hundreds of miles.
Take them all the way to fucking back into Gondor, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. He should have just left them in Ithilien. It just would have been fine. But since he takes them all the way and then he has to have come to Jesus moment, like, oh, now I understand why I have to release you, instead of just being wise enough at the beginning to know that I have to release you.
And here's the thing that also makes zero sense about that scene in that movie. Frodo is right there in front of one of the wraiths. Doesn't he instantly know then that Frodo has it? He's sitting there with it fucking like in his hands. Like the wraith must know that Frodo's holding it, and he must have told Sauron. Therefore, Sauron would know that the ring is now in the hands of two fucking hobbits and a golem.
Yes.
Yes. Fucked up the whole trilogy.
That would have been too. Yeah, exactly. Like, that would have been that's like direct confirmation of where Frodo is at a certain point in time that Sauron never gets.
Yeah,
I mean, minus the fact in the tower, but beyond that, though, yeah, like you would have, as soon as that Nazgul went back to Barad-dûr, Sauron would have been like, "Oh shit, that's where they are. We launch now," or something.
I mean, that never made sense to me in the movie, but we're getting. Well, it's a stream of consciousness. We can talk about whatever the hell we want, I guess, but.
Yeah, it is. But even those like big plot holes in Lord of the Rings you can accept them because they don't ruin the actual story that is being told. Like 90% of Lord of the Rings is faithful to the book.
Oh, let's get out of here. Oh, you're already ahead of me.
1% of Wheel of Time is faithful to the books. And that is just an unacceptable percentage.
1% is a little hyperbolic, but I take your
really?
point. Yes, if you 1% would be getting the names and places names right, and they got that right.
That's. I think you've forgotten how much season 2 and 3 don't have anything.
No. But
maybe 5%. 5%. I'll give it 5.
You know, one thing that the show actually got right was the Aiel, basically.
Yeah. They did a good job there.
In the time that we saw them on there, I think they.
I never thought that this was like people just trying to cosplay the Aiel. It really worked. I mean, from the costumes that they did, the cool fight scenes that they had, the choreography works really well, and then just the kind of like hard nature of the actors that they chose. You know, like it definitely felt like you were in a real. Yeah, they felt like a real society for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even
absolutely.
though like we just got a bare glimpse of them, but like what we got worked. And like Bane and Chiad, you know, were not a disappointment in the Two Rivers.
Yeah, they were pretty good. I was happy to see that. What was well, another thing I think they got pretty close to right was White Tower Aes Sedai bollocking.
Yeah.
You know, like just backstabbing bullshit behind intrigue, politics. You know, they got the suspicious nature of the Aes Sedai, and the they're suspicious of one another, and yet they're so supremely confident that they're right. Kind of shit. You know, they did that pretty well.
Yeah, and it definitely kind of like heightened after the Black Aja attack, especially with Varen saying like, "I watched." Was it Adelise or shit? I do not remember whichever the dwarven.
Naomi.
It's like I watched her. Oh, Naomi, right, Naomi. It's like I watched Naomi, you know, grow up, and I never once thought she was capable of this. You know, like the anger that she was that she was displaying in her talks to Moraine, like, oh, you really think that the dragon is yours to control now?
Yeah,
no.
yeah, don't.
That definitely, that was like really well done after a very emotional and really cool scene. Actually, the opening to season 3. I really did like that. I mean, there's a reason why when we watched that, when it first came out, before the episode was released, we titled it Dare We Dream?
Yeah.
Because that was a really cool fucking opening to a season. Well, I mean, yeah. It was a little too fast.
It was really jarring.
But it was really dope.
Really jarring.
Yeah, jarring. That's the word.
But I actually did like it, yeah. And then it goes straight to them chilling in Tar Valon, like talking about, things that are dumb.
After that.
Like, what the
exactly.
What are you doing in Tar Valon? Like, yeah, I think we've...
Like, Moraine is so stupid.
The stakes are just absent from the show. Like, not only do we not have a main character to sympathize with, for, and root for, and cheer on, we also don't care about the stakes because it doesn't seem that big of a... Like, everyone seems to take it so casually. Moraine tries to add some gravitas here and there, but the main characters don't seem to really be bothered. Like, Rand should be terrified of being in the White Tower. He should be terrified of being able to channel. He shouldn't even be at a position yet where he's comfortable saying that he can channel to anybody or even admit it to himself.
Yeah, they joke about it. I mean, like, Matt, it's just like, you with your wolf thing and you with your dragon bollocks, I got the Horn of Valir.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're sitting there posing with it. Like, motherfucker would get murdered in Randland posing with the Horn of Valir like that, right? Would he not?
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, I definitely feel that way.
Yeah, I mean,
and then,
shit.
And then, like, yeah, and then and if he doesn't get murdered, all the Aes Sedai in the tower, with all their eyes and ears in Tar Valon, would hear this and descend on him.
Yeah, they're talking about controlling the dragon, you know, like
Matt would get bonded in an instant.
Well, he doesn't, actually, when he's in the White Tower in the books.
Well, no, but I'm not talking about, like, no. If he had been swinging his dick around with the fucking Horn of Valir, one green would have been like, oh, thank you, you're mine now.
Yeah, I mean, Alanna bonds Rand. Which I wonder if that would have happened in the show still. It doesn't really matter. You know what? Alanna's character started out with such promise, and then they really kind of they nerfed her a little bit in Emond's Field for no reason, and then they made her warder a way too big part of every story. Like, I don't really understand what his purpose was in the show, to be honest. I mean, when you think about the involvement Varen and Alanna have in Emond's Field, their contribution to the battles and the defense of Emond's Field are significant. But, you know, we don't get or need really POVs from those characters. We get to see them through Perrin's eyes almost exclusively.
Yeah.
Why did we need to have extra drama with Alanna. Wasn't there going to be enough drama with Perrin meeting a woman who was going to be his wife and dealing with the trauma trauma feelings of killing his wife that finding another relationship was going to bring up? And I mean, do you really need to manufacture more drama and more love interests and more like I'm going to raise and why did Alanna have this whole a part to tell anyway? This, god damn it, I'm getting so heated. Let the zombies get to me. Fucking, why does her story matter? I don't give a fuck about Alanna's story. Alanna exists for two reasons in the books: to bond Rand and to almost die and almost ruin it all.
Yeah, that's
like holy.
And to help Perrin and the well, actually no, not to help Perrin, and help the Aes Sedai find him.
And technically Rand gets all the benefits of the water bond as well. So a lot of the things that would probably the reason he can survive a lot of these crazy things, these marathon, like I'm convinced that the only reason that he survives the channeling through the Taint of Sidin in as good a shape as he does, with the Sa'angreal still intact afterwards, is because of the water bond. He was able to remain focused and stay more alert and aware and everything than
Juggernog over here
than Nynaeve was.
Yeah. No, yeah, like that's definitely, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I also kind of, I mean, like, just before we go back to like Alanna's stupid character, I've never heard, or I don't think that it's really explained, but like, does him having 4 different people bonded to him make the benefits of the water bond?
I don't think the bond.
Greater,
I don't think the bond that he has.
Just,
it's complete. It's a different bond. It's not a water bond in the same way.
Because they just like link themselves. And especially like with men.
Yeah. And
it's like
only oh god damn it. Only one person I think controls the weaves for that, right?
I don't it's been so long since I've read that chapter itself.
And Elaine and Avienda are bonded as first sisters by the Wise Ones previously to that in a different ceremony that also involved the One Power.
Yeah.
So I think the water bond is just one type of bond that they've discovered among many. And this particular one tends to convey more physical benefits as opposed to purely emotional.
Don't kill the last one. Let's go check out the other places.
Roger,
yeah.
Roger
okay.
that.
Yeah. But okay. So, but like going back to Alanna though, she honestly, I kind of just think that they decided that they needed to have specific Ajas more represented. I mean, like because like characters that are like big. I mean, like, you know, like Alanna, because she does play a decent role. I mean, like a decent sized role, but not like massive. But she's an interesting enough character and does enough shit that you could make her more interesting on screen.
True.
And it could be that they found, because she's not extreme. I don't remember her being as interesting in season 1 as she is in season 2 and 3. I think it might have just been like a reaction, like, ooh, this character and actress work really well. Let's just start pumping in a lot of screen time.
Yeah, it could be exactly that. In terms of showing the Aja differences and stuff like that, yep, you're probably right about that. However, they either did a brilliant thing or a dumb thing with Alanna then. If she is the representative of the Green Aja, is she meant to show us how woefully unprepared the Green Aja are as a whole to fight the last battle? Because if so, then it's brilliant.
No. They were trying to show how badass the Green Aja is.
Yeah, and they think they did a pretty bad job of it. And, you know, not necessarily because she wasn't powerful, it's because she's dumb. She doesn't understand how to, like, fight. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, how to use...
like, somehow, she and Swan or whatever, during the battle for the tower, and Lyanna are, like, fucking badasses, right? Like, or Swan and Lyanna are badasses in the fight for the tower.
Yeah.
Alanna, when she's fighting in Emond's Field, just seems to forget the most basic shit and only seems to be able to handle one weave at a time and then gets tired and stops fucking being a badass for a while. And then gets pincushioned. Like, I mean, there has to be a way to use wind to disrupt the flow of air so that arrows are less likely to hit you. Couldn't you...
Well, you already know there is.
Exactly. How does she not think of using it? When... Like ever.
Yeah.
Why does she have nobody guarding her back at any time? Why is she always ambushed? How can she get ambushed so easily? Why? It's because, so if you want to take a brilliant way out of it, it shows that they're really that bad at their jobs because they've never actually had to fight in a combat role. It's like, taking green 18-year-olds with a rifle and sending them into Vietnam. Yeah, it worked out well. They may know how to use the firearm, doesn't mean they know understand like the battlefield or the way a war or battle will play out. God, Alanna just seemed like she was totally unprepared for the actual mechanics of a battle. She could focus on a dangerous weave. Beyond that, she didn't have much in the tank.
Yeah, and even like her little battle in the streets with the when Ivan dies is a little ridiculous because she's jumping around doing gymnastics half the time.
Yeah.
Instead of just standing still, concentrating on weaving and letting her warders, protect her back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then splitting up in the Two River battle and have Ivan lead the two rivers people while she is out in the middle of nowhere and not having any protection, and as we've said, decides to become a pincushion.
Think about it this way here. How much more would we have cared about Emond's Field and Emond's Field people if instead of having outsiders be such an integral part to the battle, maybe have everything told from the perspective of those that are living and defending their homeland? Have things from Bran Alvere's point of view, maybe, in the village council when they're talking about strategy. He's leading a part of the troops. Have fucking Tam and Abel there.
Yeah. That was the real cardinal sin of season 3.
And don't be like, it's scheduling conflicts. Well, fucking flying fuck, then figure something out better out than just have characters we really don't give a fuck about leading the battle.
Yeah.
And then only give some part of the battle to Perrin, and then have him talk through part of it.
Yeah.
What? And why wouldn't he call some wolves or something? I don't know. He didn't have wolves involved at all.
I was expecting that to happen.
In Emond's Field, fair. Okay, fine. Now I'm getting ahead of myself, and I'm being ridiculous. There are no wolves fighting for the Battle of Emond's Field. I'm sorry. There weren't.
Well, but I was expecting. Well, since no real wolf action happens in season 3, I was expecting that to happen there.
Yeah, you would have actually.
And when it didn't, I was like, why didn't you do this? It seems like an obvious opportunity. Oh, that's right, because you're wasting time with another character who doesn't matter in nowhere near as much as Perrin does. Yeah. It's like they just devoted so much time to not the right people.
Uh-huh. And the fact that Rand isn't the obvious main character is just a huge problem. It's the story of the dragon and his friends. But, it's like, okay, Avatar: The Last Airbender. If they remade that and they decided to, make it a question who the Avatar was...
Oh, God.
That's what they were trying to do at the beginning. If they were trying to give every single character equal POV time...
Even fucking Egwene was tied in, ooh, maybe she's the dragon.
What if one of the season finales was, instead of being fought by Aang, was fought by Katara? Exclusively. That would be so stupid. But that's exactly what they did with these.
I mean, to continue on that thread, I mean, at the end of season 3, when you get the big battles going on everywhere, she is sent with Zuko, to help take out Azula. But it does that smaller battle in comparison does not detract from the real battle that is going on between Aang and Ozai.
Yeah, the main battle is obviously between Aang and Ozai, and guess what? It's the most badass, epic, impactful, cool shit that I'd ever seen on TV. It felt like until up to that point.
Oh yeah, that was so dope.
At no point was I thinking, oh man, they're really stealing Aang's thunder here and giving it to Katara and Zuko. No, those battles complemented each other perfectly, like a symphony. It was a perfect finale to an almost perfect TV show.
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, season 3 was so good. Because, story time for everyone who made it this far. I had not watched season 1 or 2 of Avatar. By the time I watched season 3.
Wait, for
my
real?
brother gave me season 3.
Yes, no. You gave
me. You gave me the files for season 3. And I
That
had
is
no idea
wild.
that it was season 3. I thought it was just like the beginning of it, really. So I watched all of season 3 in one fucking night. Absolutely gripped at what I was like. I knew there was something wrong with it because I was like there's shit that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And it just seems like thing. But like season 3, I watched it all in one night, and it was like one of the most like transformative things. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck? How did this happen? Like, this is amazing. And then I find out that there is a season 1 and 2, and then I get to watch Aang grow up. It was kind of a jarring thing. I was like, wow, the airbender, this is so cool. And then he's a goofy little kid, wanting to go penguin sledding. I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
Right? Yeah. That's great.
But that, to a certain respect, actually made seasons 1 and 2 even cooler because I knew how it was going to end. So seeing his progression was like a little bit like not necessarily more satisfying because I knew how it was going to end, but a different type of satisfying because I got to see the growth, but the predestination was already there, and I didn't need to wonder about how it was going to be resolved or like fear that it was going to be resolved badly.
Yeah.
I could just enjoy it.
There's something to be said for that, because not all endings of a, like, if you just flip to the last chapter of a book, good luck with that with Wheel of Time. But
no, even if you just like read the last third of Wheel of Time, the whole book series, you'd still be like, what the fuck is this?
And you'd be like, holy shit, this guy is insane. What the fuck? Why is he the way he is? Wait, why can he talk to wolves? And wait, what is Matt? Who is this Matt character? What the fuck is in the Chandrai? And why does he have a scar around his neck? And what, did he just get raped?
Yeah, Teelan. Okay, yeah, that's actually one thing. Going back to Wheel of Time now, I'm sad that I'll never get to see because
I want to know how
they would have done that.
Yeah,
because those scenes are some of the funniest scenes with Matt. Because he's just so uncomfortable. Him just huffing on his pipe while she's calling him duckling. Look at your cute little ribbon.
It's funny, but it's also like, ooh.
Oh no, it's so like it's funny, but like if you reverse the gender roles, it's not funny.
Exactly.
It's like it's one of those things. It only goes one way.
And that's part of the brilliance of Robert Jordan's storytelling right there, I think. That's just him classic role reversal that makes you instantly reassess, like, wait, why am I laughing at this? Oh my god. Like, at a certain level you figure out, or at a certain point you figure out, oh shit, if you reverse this real quick, I would not be laughing, or if I am laughing, I'd be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Robert Jordan's woke, y'all.
Certainly was. I mean, dude, he's fucking got basically polygamy. It's normalized.
Polyamory, polygamy, bisexuality, heterosexuality, homosexuality. It's all very, very blasé in the story. And I appreciate that. Yeah. He doesn't make any part of it a big deal. And that's one of the things that they kind of fucked up in the show, is they highlighted some of it instead of making it just a part and parcel of the world. Like, honestly, you don't have enough time in the show, with the hours that you're given, to tell 6 love stories as well as the main story. No, fuck you. You're not allowed to fuck around with that shit. You're only allowed to stick to the important stuff. You're not allowed to make shit up. You're not allowed to add bullshit like that. That's like if you wrote a Bible for this Lord of the Rings show, that would be in it. You are not allowed to bullshit around with this fucking shit. And if you're not sure what it is, just go find the Thundering Dice Brothers, and they'll tell you whether you're allowed to bullshit around with it or not.
Yes, absolutely. That is some sound advice. Listen to him.
Yes. But like we've so clearly driven home, it's over. And,
it's over.
People are going to say, I don't know why you guys wasted an hour of your lives bitching about it. It's for the same reason we spent hours watching the show and talking about it. It's because we fucking love the books, and we really wanted to like the show, and we wanted to, talk about it, get it out of our systems. And now it's over with, and we have to call it all out, and maybe someone will listen to this, and in 15 years they are making a TV show or a movie that's an adaptation, and they will remember some small nugget of what we said. If there's a good story, tell the good story that's already been told. Don't change it because you think you know better.
Yes.
Only make changes that are absolutely necessary to an adaptation to a different medium.
Yes. And never fundamentally change any aspect of the story that is integral.
Never change a character.
Yes.
Never
Yeah.
change a character. Its motivations.
Because there's
like
yeah,
no.
because you're never going to make the story better by changing a character in a good story. You're
Now
just going to.
I will say, like, when I mean character, I don't mind if you like have to mine two ancillary characters for the sake of expedience or whatever.
Well, yeah, the real characters,
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
not the tiny people.
Exactly. I want the main character. So in this case here, we're talking people like Rand, Matt, Perrin, Avienda, Egwene, Nynaeve. And then some of the other bigger ancillary characters you probably don't want to change very much either. People like Tom and Moraine, Lan. I know
Lan is the one
missing
though
a
that
ton,
I
I'm
think.
sure.
Yeah, but Lan is the one that I think works with the most personality change, because if you had the actor that they got to portray Lan just follow the way the books are,
Stoneface.
I'm sorry, there's basically nothing for the character to do on screen. Like, there's no facial emotions. There's just action and like one or two.
It's
word
real
dialogue.
impressive to hear it told from Nynaeve's perspective or whatever. Like Lan, who's normally emotionless face, twitched. For him, this was betray. This was the same as a full-out laugh or whatever. You know, that makes sense
Yeah.
as written. I know I butchered that kind of thing, but I'm sure that's been written in that way somewhere in the book.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! No! Oh, balls! I got caught
dear.
reloading on the bridge. Fuck. Oh damn.
I just got I got hit multiple times too. Yeah. But no, yeah. So like, Lan is the better reason, or is like the one good one that you could have. That it was good to give him more personality and more depth, because as he's written in the books, he's a great book character, and he does grow. But for most of the books, he is a very static kind of figure, and you can only move so much with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. But for the most part, you know, all those characters, they're the main characters, but Rand is, you know, it's we're all main characters, but some of them are more main, and Rand is the most main. And if they had just stuck to that...
What the fuck is this? Some of us, we're all equal, but some of us are more
You didn't recognize that?
than others.
From Animal Farm?
No, I know
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, word. I'm just making sure you picked up what I was putting down there. Yeah, so if they had just stuck to the bones of that kind of stuff, and to be clear, I have no doubt in my mind that if they had followed everything that we just said, we would still have found things that we didn't agree with. We would still have been like, why did they choose to change this when they should have changed this instead? Like I said, but I think we would have had more things to be excited about. A lot of the tone of our discussion would have been more like, all right, that's cool. Yeah, like we're kind of bummed out they changed that, you know, blah, 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 blah. But we got to see this cool shit here, you know.
Yeah, exactly. We'd be so much more forgiving of all the faux pas that they did, potentially would have done, because they kept the grander part of the story intact, allowing for those, you know, small deviations to work and to get overshadowed. Instead of the bad things overshadowing the good things, it would have been the good things overshadowing the bad things.
Yeah. So you could have said, you know what, like, I give this series a 7 out of 10. On balance, the good stuff outweighed the bad. 7 out of 10. I think we all would have been happy with a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even get half of that.
No.
On basis of completion alone, it's an F. It's a DNF. It did not finish. It's like you turn in your essay and you just, you know, finished writing. You stopped writing in the third paragraph, and teacher's like, the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Like, you know, like, fuck, you showed up, I guess. You wrote your name on there.
Yeah. It's somewhere. It's in that gray zone between a DOA and a DOF.
Dead on arrival and did not finish. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Because like they screwed up season 1 so bad that it was basically like if they had canceled it after season 1, no one would have been surprised.
Now, however, if they had been able to salvage the ending, so let's think about just the first 6 episodes, right up until Matt doesn't join them in the ways. They were pretty much on point, more or less. Like, we missed the entire
minus
stuff.
the 2 episodes in Tar Valon.
God God damn
It's
it.
two whole episodes in Tarvalon.
And there was so much bullshit that they added in there. I remember that now. Oh my god, there was
like
so
the warder,
much crap
like
that didn't matter. Holy fuck,
like
I
remember
forgot about
like
that.
Lan screaming because of
one of the warders dying, and then
Maxim's
and
death.
the whole Logain being brought back.
Maxim's.
They wasted so much stuff that happened off screen, showing it to us, and then having Nynaeve have a stupid, overpowered healing moment. Oh my god, it's all coming back. Okay, well, even with all of that, if the final two episodes if they had done the final two episodes exactly as written in the book, would it have elevated the total score for you of the episode if they'd at least nailed the landing? I think it would have done a good way, because they fucked the finale up royally. It bears almost zero resemblance to the finale in the book, and I'm including all the finales. Like the Eye of the World and Tarwin's Gap look nothing like what they portrayed on screen.
Yeah, they're if they had gotten the endings more or less correctly for season 1, it would have I would have been able to forgive a lot more of the Tarvalon bollocks than I can, since they screwed it up so royally.
Oh, what the fuck am I doing with a goddamn pistol around for?
Yeah, I know, right? Get the machine pistol.
Oh, I got the M14.
Oh, that works too. Well, it's an insta-kill now, so that's nice and easy. So yeah, like, if they had gotten that right, and once again, I don't know how they got it wrong. I mean, like fuck the COVID excuse and and Matt's
abrupt departure
actor being, whatever the hell that fucking happened. You can drop that into the bucket, because it doesn't explain why they got so much so wrong. Like, what, like, just the fact that you can burn out when you're linked. It's such a fundamental misunderstanding of the lore. I mean, it's not even like the story. It's like the lore. It's how the power fucking works. It is very much explained, and there is no room for interpretation here. You can like say like, ooh, there's lots of room for interpretation of how you can tell a story. Yeah, sure, whatever. But if you're talking about 2 + 2, it fucking equals 4.
In a sometimes poorly ill-defined magic system, some parts of it are very sharply defined, and that is one of them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, clear as day. It's like, thou shalt not kill.
It's completely unnecessary. So if you want to have an ensemble cast and you want to make it sort of nebulous, balls, nebulous as to who the dragon really is, then have the entire season be leading up to everyone going to the Eye of the World, like what happens in the book, and Rand being the one that draws on the eye, the pool of untainted Sidon, and thereby revealing himself as the dragon. That would have been it. Man, you could have had all the same BS mystery about who the dragon really is. Is it a girl or a guy? Is it a queen or Rand? Is it Nynaeve? Who knows? Yeah. You could have just done it that way and satisfied the story in a much better way. And then you could have had the Green Man, and you could have had, like, you know, an actual correct battle against Trollocs at the Gap with soldiers, not some random women who do ex machina the shit out of the battle. Yeah.
Hey, look, I'm flying.
So frustrating.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely frustrating. Because it's like once again, it's a what could they have done? You know, because like he was able to get it made, but he was able to get it made wrong.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it was a Herculean, you know, task to probably even get it into production, and overcoming that hurdle is an amazing feat. But you know what? I'd rather wish you didn't if you fucked it up for the rest of my life, like possibly literally.
Yeah, like if this is the only ever on-screen version that we get to see. That is an extremely sad thing to hear.
It's not like it's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all situation. No. This is not like the same thing at all. This is not. It's better to have seen 3 episodes than never gotten any at all. No, I would have rather gotten none at all if this is all I was ever going to get.
Yeah, this is like, it's better, like, this is like, it's better not to have been stabbed in the dick than to have been stabbed in the dick.
Yeah.
That's this situation.
Well, it is what it is. Oh man, I am just Babytown frolicking over here. knocked down left, right,
That
and
is
center.
a stupid map too.
Yes.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I enjoyed watching. I mean, like, even though like we bitched about basically most of it, did enjoy watching it. It like I never felt like I was going to fall asleep like I do in Rings of Power.
Yeah, that's true. It was better television.
So that alone gives it a not a passing grade, but like
it's a check mark in its favor.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed, our weekly breakdowns and instant reactions and
Yeah, those things were really fun. To make.
That was a fun activity. Even if we weren't always excited about the episode, I was still always excited to watch the next one and see where it was going to go, and still hopeful that they were going to right the ship, that something neat was going to happen, and sometimes they got real close.
Yeah, and it was fun, doing reading all the comments of you guys
on Reddit,
and we all either either being slightly happy or really happy about like the Glass Columns one, or like just disappointed that all these other things that we wanted to happen didn't happen,
or generally telling us to get a life, which
all
valid.
our most dedicated fans who watch us constantly and tell us that that we're just wrong, like we would have never met you, we would have never grown to love you. We want you to know you are a very valued member of this
Well, I don't know if they're
community.
membered or not. Maybe they are. Let's give them.
That's true. I mean, like 90% of you people aren't fucking subscribed to us. So what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, slackers. Obligatory. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Even if you want to say "fuck you guys" and Real Time was the best thing that ever graced your screen. I don't know if you were blind, but. There's a few of you out there, I'm sure. Regardless, though, it was a fun time watching it. We'll always have
a fun
the
experiment.
Books.
Yes, that's the thing. Yeah, like no matter how bad the TV show was, no matter how much it pissed us off, or how much we liked it or any of it, we will always have the books. They will live in memoriam as the greatest fantasy series that ran 14 books.
I was waiting for that qualifier.
Yeah.
It is always gonna be around. Oh man, dude, I'm
dead.
You know what? Just like the Wheel of Time on Prime, we are dead. The zombies have conquered.
And there's nothing more to say about Wheel of Time. We have I mean, in this respect, there's plenty of stuff. We will definitely talk about the books later on. We will go through
has absolutely one more positive thing as a closer. I have a greater knowledge of the first few books because I looked so much into them to check things or whatever while we were doing this and going against the movies. It was the TV show that I did before. So for that, that's pretty awesome. I'm grateful for that. Just talking about it made me more aware of it. Discussing it, discussing Wheel of Time is always fun. Any excuse to discuss it is a good thing. So for that, the show provided boundless opportunities for discussion. So for that, I am grateful.
And one other little grateful thing about it, in a very interesting and turbulent world that you never know what actually is going to happen tomorrow, it was a nice reprieve to talk about Wheel of Time so much because of, as you said, because of the show. And it was a good distraction for all of us.
Agreed. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We will always have Wheel of Time stuff for you. Now we just get to focus more on the book stuff. So if you guys want to hear anything about about the Wheel of Time from us, feel free to chime in, because if you can't tell, we have a pretty deep knowledge of it, and we'd love to talk more about it. Otherwise, we'll be around for Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings kind of stuff, and whatever other random shit we want to talk about. So thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time on Stream of Consciousness.
Sayonara.